There are moments in life when something finally makes sense. A realization arrives not as a shock, but as confirmation. It feels familiar, almost expected. That is because the truth did not arrive suddenly. You were prepared for it. Preparation happens long before awareness. Experiences shape understanding. Challenges strengthen perception. Lessons repeat until they are recognized. What once felt confusing now feels clear, because the mind has matured enough to receive it. Truth does not come to destroy comfort. It comes to replace illusion. Growth demands honesty. It asks for courage to see things as they are, not as they were hoped to be. This clarity is not given to those who are unready. It arrives only when strength exists to carry it. Every delay, every struggle, every moment of doubt was shaping resilience. Those experiences were not wasted. They were trainings. They developed the ability to listen without denial and to accept without resistance. Truth changes direction. It sharpens focus. It removes unnecessary weight. What once drained energy no longer deserves attention. What matters becomes clear. This is not loss. It is alignment. You were prepared through discomfort, through patience, through persistence. Each lesson added depth. Each challenge built awareness. Now the truth does not overwhelm, it empowers. This moment is not about regret, it is about release. Letting go of false expectations creates space for growth. Acceptance restores momentum. Truth does not arrive to judge the past. It arrives to guide the future. Understanding replaces confusion. Purpose replaces uncertainty. You were prepared for this truth because you are ready to move forward with clarity, strength, and intention. Truth does not arrive randomly or force itself upon those who are unready. It appears only when a person has developed the strength, awareness, and emotional capacity to understand it. Readiness is not created overnight. It is built through experience, patience, and reflection. Every situation faced in the past quietly contributed to this moment of awareness. Early in life, truth can feel overwhelming. The mind seeks comfort, certainty, and simplicity. It avoids ideas that challenge identity or expectations. At that stage, truth would feel threatening rather than helpful. This is why certain realizations do not appear earlier. The absence of truth is not denial, it is protection. Readiness develops through repeated exposure to reality. Small disappointments teach resilience. Failures teach humility. Success teaches responsibility. Over time, the mind becomes less reactive and more observant. Emotional reactions soften. Understanding deepens. This evolution creates space for truth to be received without resistance. Life uses experience as preparation. Lessons repeat until they are understood. Patterns continue until awareness forms. Each repetition strengthens perceptions. What once caused confusion eventually brings clarity. When the same message appears again and again, it signals that readiness is forming. Truth also requires courage. Seeing reality clearly demands honesty. It asks for acceptance of what cannot be changed and responsibility for what can. This level of courage does not exist without preparation. It is developed through hardship and self-reflection. Readiness is revealed through calmness, not urgency. When truth arrives and the response is understanding rather than panic, it proves preparation. The mind no longer fights reality, it listens. Acceptance replaces resistance. This readiness does not remove discomfort, but it makes discomfort manageable. Truth can still be difficult, but it no longer feels destructive. It becomes useful. It offers direction instead of confusion. Growth creates perspective. Perspective allows separation between emotion and reality. This separation is essential for truth to be processed effectively. Without it, truth would distort rather than guide. Truth waits patiently. It does not rush. It arrives when the foundation is strong enough to support it. This is why certain realizations feel timely rather than surprising. They feel earned. When readiness exists, truth feels like alignment rather than loss. It brings relief instead of fear. The realization makes sense because the mind has already done the work required to receive it. Readiness is the final step before transformation. Once truth is accepted, movement becomes intentional. Direction becomes clear. Growth accelerates. Truth does not appear to test strength. It appears because strength has already been built. You were prepared for this truth because you are now capable of using it to move forward. Challenges are not random obstacles placed in the path of growth. They are the very tools that shape understanding. Each difficulty carries information that the mind absorbs over time. What feels painful in the moment often becomes meaningful later. Struggle sharpens perception in ways comfort never can. When everything is easy, awareness remains shallow. There is no need to question, reflect, or adapt. Challenges disrupt comfort and force attention inward. They demand growth. Through pressure, priorities become clear. Through resistance, strength is revealed. Every challenge exposes limits. It shows where patience is thin, where discipline weakens, where belief falters. This exposure is not failure, it is feedback. Awareness grows when weaknesses are acknowledged instead of ignored. This self-awareness is a form of preparation. Repeated challenges refine understanding. The same lesson often appears in different forms until it is learned. What once felt confusing eventually becomes obvious. This repetition builds mental maturity. Patterns become recognizable, choices improve. Struggle also builds emotional intelligence. Experiencing loss, disappointment, or uncertainty teaches empathy and restraint. Emotional depth increases. Reactions become measured rather than impulsive. This emotional stability allows truth to be received without distortion. Challenges create humility. They remind the mind that growth is ongoing. They remove arrogance and replace it with curiosity. This openness invites learning. Truth cannot enter a closed mind. Through difficulties, attention shifts from external validation to internal alignment. Values become clear. Purpose strengthens. Decisions become intentional rather than reactive. This clarity prepares the mind for deeper understanding. Challenges also test commitments. They ask whether effort will continue when rewards are absent. Persistence during difficulty builds integrity. Integrity strengthens self-trust. This trust is essential for accepting truth without denial. Over time, struggle transforms perspectives. The mind stops asking why difficulty exists and starts asking what it teaches. This shift marks readiness. Truth becomes welcome rather than threatening. Understanding shaped by challenge is durable. It is not easily shaken by external circumstances. It creates stability in uncertainty. This stability is proof of preparation. Challenges do not arrive to block growth. They arrive to create it. Each difficulty faced contributes to awareness. Each struggle endured adds depth. This accumulation of understanding prepares the mind to recognize and accept truth when it appears. The truth feels clear because challenges have already done their work. You were prepared through struggle to understand what now reveals itself. Clarity does not appear suddenly. It emerges gradually as illusions fall away. Illusions are comforting ideas built on hope rather than reality. They protect the mind during earlier stages of growth, but over time they become limitations. When growth reaches a certain point, illusion must give way to truth. This transition is not loss, it is progress. Illusions create false expectations. They promise outcomes without effort or certainly without risk. While comforting, they delay growth. Reality eventually challenges these beliefs. When illusions collapse, confusion may appear briefly, but clarity follows. Clarity requires honesty. It demands seeing situations as they are, not as they were imagined. This honesty is difficult without preparation. Emotional strength is needed to release attachment to false beliefs. Preparation through experience makes this release possible. As illusions fade, priorities realign. What once seemed important loses significance. Energy is reclaimed. Focus sharpens. This clarity simplifies decision making and strengthens direction. Clarity also removes unnecessary struggle. Fighting reality consumes energy. Accepting truth conserves it. When illusions fall away, resistance ends. Movement becomes smoother. Growth often feels uncomfortable at this stage because the mind is adjusting. Old beliefs dissolve. New understanding forms. This transition can feel disorienting, but it leads to stability. Clarity reveals responsibility. It removes excuses and blame. This accountability empowers action. When responsibility is accepted, control increases. Illusions distort perception. Clarity corrects it. When perception aligns with reality, confidence becomes grounded. Decisions improve. Outcomes stabilize. Clarity also enhances patience. Expectations become realistic. Progress is measured accurately. This patience prevents frustration and sustains effort. Truth replaces illusion when readiness exists. The mind is no longer fragile. It can handle complexity without fear. This maturity allows clarity to settle. Clarity is not harsh. It is liberating. It removes confusion and uncertainty. It provides directions. It restores momentum. When illusions fall, clarity rises. This process is not sudden, it is earned. Preparation through experience made this transition possible. You were prepared for this truth because you are now capable of seeing clearly and moving forward with intention. Acceptance is not surrender. It is alignment with reality. When truth appears, resistance is often the greatest source of pain. Fighting what is real drains energy and delays growth. Acceptance does the opposite. It restores balance. It allows movement to continue without unnecessary struggle. Acceptance begins when the mind stops arguing with facts. It does not mean approving everything that has happened or agreeing with every outcome. It means recognizing what is without denial or distortion. This recognition creates stability. When reality is accepted, emotional chaos settles. Alignment follows acceptance. Once the mind acknowledges truth, decisions become clearer. Energy is no longer wasted on what cannot be changed. Focus shifts to what can be shaped. This redirection strengthens purpose and simplifies effort. Resistance creates tension. Tension clouds judgment. Acceptance releases that tension. With less emotional noise, awareness sharpens. Understanding deepens. Actions become intentional rather than reactive. Acceptance also strengthens self-respect. It replaces blame with responsibility. When responsibility is accepted, control increases. Growth accelerates because energy is invested where it matters. Alignment changes how challenges are approached. Instead of fighting circumstances, effort adapts to them. Flexibility replaces frustration. This adaptability is a sign of maturity. It allows progress even in uncertain conditions. Acceptance creates peace without complacency. It calms the mind while motivating action. This balance prevents burnout and sustains long-term effort. Truth often reveals uncomfortable realities. Acceptance allows those realities to exist without overwhelming emotion. This emotional regulation preserves clarity. Alignment also removes internal conflict. When thoughts, values, and actions match reality, integrity forms. Integrity strengthens confidence. Confidence improves decision-making. Acceptance improves relationships with self and others. Expectations become realistic. Disappointment decreases. Communication becomes honest. Acceptance does not erase ambition. It refines it. Goals become grounded. Effort becomes efficient. Progress becomes sustainable. When acceptance is present, resistance dissolves. Growth becomes smoother. Direction becomes clear. Truth no longer feels heavy. It feels useful. Alignment restores momentum. It allows movement forward without being anchored to the past. This freedom creates space for transformation. Acceptance is a sign of readiness. It proves that the mind is strong enough to face reality and still move forward. You were prepared for this truth because acceptance no longer weakens you. It aligns you, and alignment creates growth. Preparation rarely announces itself. It works quietly, shaping perception, strengthening character, and refining awareness without drawing attention. Most of the most important growth happens in silence, where no one is watching and no validation is given. This unseen development is often underestimated, yet it is the foundation that allows truth to be understood when it finally appears. Silent preparation happens through reflection. Moments of solitude encourage honest thinking. Without distraction, the mind reviews experiences, connects patterns, and absorbs lessons. These internal processes cannot be rushed or forced. They mature over time, gradually increasing awareness. Silence also teaches patience. When results are delayed and recognition is absent, persistence becomes a choice. Continuing despite invisibility strengthens discipline. This discipline builds reliability within oneself. Self-trust grows because effort is no longer dependent on external approval. Lessons learned in silence are deeper because they are internalized rather than performed. There is no pressure to impress, only the need to understand. This honesty allows growth to be authentic. The mind becomes resilient because its strength was not borrowed from praise. Quiet preparation also develops emotional control. Without constant reaction, emotions settle. Responses become thoughtful rather than impulsive. This emotional stability is essential for handling truth. Without it, truth would feel overwhelming. Silence removes distraction. Without noise, clarity forms. The mind becomes observant. Small details are noticed. Subtle patterns emerge. This heightened awareness prepares perception. Preparation in silence builds humility. It reminds the mind that growth is ongoing. It removes entitlement and replaces it with curiosity. This openness allows truth to be received without defensiveness. Unseen effort often feels unrewarded, but it is never wasted. Every moment of discipline adds strength. Every act of patience adds depth. These qualities accumulate quietly, creating readiness. When truth arrives, it feels familiar because the mind has already processed it unconsciously. Recognition replaces surprise. This familiarity proves preparation. Silent preparation also filters intention. Superficial desires fade. Meaningful purpose remains. This alignment strengthens direction. The most transformative lessons are rarely dramatic. They are subtle realizations that reshape perspective. These realizations come from internal readiness, not external events. Silence allows growth to occur without pressure. Without the need to perform, understanding deepens naturally. This depth creates stability. When truth finally emerges, it does not feel like disruption. It feels like confirmation. The mind recognizes it because it has already been shaped to understand it. Preparation done quietly creates strength that does not need validation. It builds awareness that cannot be shaken easily. It forms a foundation that supports growth. You were prepared in silence because truth requires depth, not noise. The lessons developed quietly now allow understanding to rise without resistance. Truth is often misunderstood as something harsh or painful, but in its pure form, truth is empowering. It does not arrive to weaken confidence or diminish worth. It arrives to restore clarity, direction, and control. When truth is understood, confusion fades and strength increases. Empowerment comes from knowing what is real. Uncertainty drains energy. Doubt creates hesitation. Truth removes both. It provides a stable foundation from which decisions can be made confidently. Even when truth is difficult, it simplifies reality. Simplicity strengthens action. Truth restores control by revealing responsibility. When illusions disappear, excuses lose power. Responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it is actually freeing. It returns agency. With responsibility comes the ability to change outcomes. Control increases when ownership is accepted. Truth strengthens self-respect. It encourages honesty with oneself. This honesty builds integrity. Integrity aligns actions with values. When actions align, confidence becomes grounded rather than fragile. Empowerment also comes from clarity of direction. Truth eliminates wasted effort. It shows where energy should be invested and where it should be withdrawn. This focus accelerates progress and prevents burnout. Truth reduces fear. Fear thrives in uncertainty and imagination. When reality is understood, fear loses intensity. The unknown becomes known. Even challenges feel manageable when clearly defined. Empowerment is sustained by acceptance. Fighting reality weakens effort. Accepting truth conserves energy. This conserved energy can be used for growth rather than resistance. Truth also sharpens resilience. When reality is accepted, setbacks are processed rationally rather than emotionally. Recovery becomes faster. Persistence strengthens. Empowerment is not loud or aggressive. It is calm and steady. It does not require validation. It comes from internal alignment. Truth creates this alignment by removing contradiction between belief and reality. Truth allows intentional living. Decisions are made consciously. Reactions are reduced. Life feels directed rather than reactive. Understanding truth also improves relationships. Expectations become realistic. Communication becomes honest. Conflict decreases. Empowerment grows when truth is integrated, not avoided. Avoidance maintains weakness. Acceptance builds strength. Truth does not strip away hope, it refines it. Hope becomes realistic and actionable. This realistic hope sustains effort over time. When truth is embraced, growth accelerates. Progress becomes intentional. Strength becomes stable. You were prepared for this truth because you are now capable of using it as a tool rather than fearing it. Truth empowers because awareness creates control, and control creates growth. This truth did not arrive to unsettle you. It arrived because you are ready. Every experience, every challenge, every quiet lesson prepared the ground for this moment of understanding. What once would have felt overwhelming now feels clear. You are no longer searching blindly. Awareness has replaced confusion. Acceptance has replaced resistance. Strength has replaced doubt. This is not coincidence. It is readiness. Truth does not appear to break you. It appears when you are strong enough to use it. It sharpens direction, restores control, and opens the path forward. What you see now is meant to guide you, not burden you. This moment marks alignment. The past shaped you. The present clarifies you. The future now responds to intention. You were prepared for this truth because growth has already occurred. The next step is not fear. It is movement.